Hey, I can do better here. This video will be slightly longer. I know that already. I don't know specifically how long, but I will start out by showcasing that Joe, you can see here his forum discussions, post history, and I just searched cheater defender. Anything that has to do with defend, cheaters, such things. And if you scroll down, you can see there's even more. There are like 13 pages in total. It dates back to 2015. Defend and cheater still in the same post he did. And it goes on and on. Stop defending the dude, man. The cheater here would be a dude that run blah 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 blah. You can see like, which means cheaters can exist and hunt baseless to just defend yourself from something that you can't use baseless against. Blah 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 blah. Joe, defending cheaters, as I said, you were doing. They all have Vac-ban in 2022 also. If we do here, Vac-ban. He has mentioned that enough. Like nice Vac-ban. There are loads of cheaters without Vac-ban. It wouldn't make much difference. There's another cheater with Vac-ban on account. The Vac-ban is the icing on the cake that solidifies it. Like, you have Vac-ban on your account, filthy cheater. If we then start just with the Vac-ban, I can once again go back to the person ItzGnnO who got a Vac-ban on record. It is over 8 years old, but he got it on record. Joe are so fascinated with using Vac-bans as an argument to why people are cheating. I can take his July highlight 2024 and show he plays with ItzGnnO here. I can play from here to show that Joe also goes by other names than just Captain Blue like he does in Steam. Because here he's named his name is Major underscore Blue. But look who's he's actually getting killed by right now. Jono. GNNO. GNNO. He knew that the guy had a Vac-ban on record so long. And this video is his April 2024. It's 11 months old. And I can continue like finding older and older and older clips of Joe playing with this guy here. He doesn't play Fortnite with him. However, he does have him banned on Fortnite, just like he have his cousin banned on Fortnite. Not banned, blocked, whatever you want to call it. Banned on friend list. So he cannot play with them. But like he continues to play with these people here. And what's even funnier is he goes around claiming Vac-ban, goes around talking about cheater defenders, like defending cheaters, all while he calls himself the anti-cheater. Playing with someone that have a Vac-ban is actually not that bad. I have a friend on my Steam list that got a Vac-ban. He's not cheating today. I caught him cheating in a Counter-Strike thing. I don't remember if it was CSGO or Source. But I told him, I'm not going to play Counter-Strike with you anymore. I know you're cheating, so I refuse to associate myself with you during that gameplay. He has never cheated again until I played Pokemon Go with him. And during COVID, there was a lot of talk about Niantic allowing the Pokemon Go version of just couch walking, where I could on the phone basically walk cheat in the game. And I was like, okay, so I'll stop playing with you Pokemon Go with you. because I don't play with cheaters. And then he stopped playing Pokemon Go because I was not playing with him. He had no one else to play with. Then it all stopped for him. He realized that cheating is not like getting him anywhere. In fact, it's getting him even less. However, Joe are claiming to be an anti-cheater, posting clips attempting to expose cheaters for what they are. If you then scroll down to, and I got permission to show this to there we go, this part here. Here we go. Joe started with this here.
We're here.
It's a Berthier 3 ammo, Spitzer ammunition, so high velocity and full metal jacket combined in one type. It's a really good ammunition type. I like it on snipers, marksman sniper, and in any sort of rifle that can have it. I like it a lot. It's really good. This here is prior bullet drop in Hunt Showdown, so leading was not as difficult as it is now, where you also need to like take hide for the bullet dropping down. But it's not impossible now either.
Killing the hellhounds. Dead.
Nice. I was just about to shoot.
Both
I
dead.
don't see the other one.
Okay, so he gets these two head taps here with the, I think it's the Berthier with, I'm not sure what weapon this is. It's high velocity ammo, 3-shotter. I think.
No, it's a Spitzer ammo. You literally see that it's Spitzer because it have this. Let me make it larger. Because it have this on the side. High velocity only have the speed indications from the bottom here. Spitzer also have these here. So you can already see there that it's that ammo time.
I think there's any other 3-shot weapons, unless it's a new weapon they've added, like is it a modified Springfield? I'm not 100% on all of the new weapons that have been added. I've not really been keeping up or paying attention too much to the meta and the event thing since I started not giving Crytek any of my money. I don't buy skins anymore, DLC, I don't participate in the events anymore. So I'm not sure what weapon this is 100%. Because it's 3 shots, I believe it's a Berthier, but I could be mistaken.
Quite a long time about like what weapon it might be, not actually proving anything. But we then go forward to here.
Gets a head tap, you hear the sound for a headshot, so you've got 2 headshots there. Okay, so I'm here in this app or whatever that I use to create my thumbnails in. Just zoom this in a little bit here. So I made this screenshot here for him just to basically show, okay, so when you fire the shot, when the dude's over here, you're this far away from where the shot is fired. This is literally the frame before
his voice was screeching. I'm sorry, that's why I turned down.
the shot comes out. So that's how far away he is from the target that he's leading the target. And while we can't see the person accurately, we can see that there is movement of a player model around about here through the bushes around here.
This player model here was crouching. You forgot to mention that. 2 different speeds, running, crouching.
You can see movement. So we can see by this red line here, the distance is shorter than the
which it should be, because the distance this player here travels is shorter than the distance this player travels. If you lead with this distance here, the bullet is going to travel the same distance because both of them are using both shots with Spitzer ammo. So the travel time over to this area here is the exact same as the travel time over to this area here, because this here is further left, so it would be equal to like closer out here from this picture. So it would actually match up if you swap these pictures around to say this here, and then on the other side you have this guy here. But he shot this guy first, that's why he got this in like order. But imagine that this person here travels 10 kilometers per hour, and this person here travels 100 kilometers per hour. Extreme difference, but if the bullet is the only constant in the calculation, you need to adjust for the distance between the lead and Joe doesn't like take that into account. I will follow it up with one where it says, and Joe confirms that's how he understood it, that leading should always be the same distance, whether or not the player is far from you or close to you. It should always be the same distance you lead. And I will follow it up. That's why it's going to be long.
Distance that he leads over here, and it's pretty much comparable distance away from the target. I believe this is a case of silent aim. He doesn't actually need to aim where the person is, and because he doesn't have, proper vision, he isn't able to pretend to lead the target. You know what I'm saying? He also
But no, I don't know what you're saying, because he was actually leading the target. The target just traveled slower. Thus, before the target and the bullet was meeting, the lead would need to be shorter. It's common math.
sent me a 40-minute game to basically claim, he's better at the game than me. He's 5 stars and he has better game knowledge and game sense than me. To give you an idea of the type of gameplay that he sent me without showing you the whole 40-minute game, is if you take this shot of the game right.
So if I'm going to give you an idea of how I perform, you're going to cherry pick it and show a single thing. Because you don't want to show the entire thing, you're just going to cherry pick and show this. Because I can see it ends right here, and I have watched it before, and it's the same thing you're showing. And you have Fritz clip 2, like Fritz clip 3. This here is another thing. This here's the leading. You have this here comparing to the other thing.
Right now, and you just watch this shot for 40 minutes, that will give you an idea of the gameplay that this guy.
No, it wouldn't. If you just watch the exact same thing for 40 minutes, it's just the exact same thing for 40 minutes. It's not the entire gameplay of how this person is playing. Like, how should that give you an idea? If you watch an egg boil for 5 minutes and repeat it until you reach 40 minutes, is that going to give you an idea of how to make a sandwich? Make it make sense. If you're going to make a cardboard house and you watch someone crop out the pieces and then repeat that process, is that going to explain to you how you are going to put the pieces together and then make the house sturdy? Like, lies. This is the fraud and lies Joe are continuously like giving everyone.
Plays. He's just a sniper player. He's a lame sniper player who changed his position.
Lame sniper player who changes his position in order to not actually be shot and caught off guard. That is the definition of how a sniper should be playing. You shoot, you rotate. You shoot, you rotate. You can shoot and rotate back to where you were on the previous shot, because then there are 2 spots that need to be keeping an eye on, but you still rotate. Snipers that hide in a bush or hide in the exact same spot for 18 minutes are boring as fuck. Snipers that rotate, they're good players. It's a different playstyle though, but still good players.
On different locations where people will be and shoots them when they're standing still basically and racks up a bunch of kills. Now he doesn't even get the extract, he actually lets the people with the bounty escape and he just extracts with 6 kills, and he uses this footage to try and claim that he's better at the game.
Well, he's better at that portion of the game than you are, because you don't know how to do it. You literally just explained that you don't understand leading.
Than I am. Now I think it's important to notice here that he is using the same weapon again. It's the same scope, same high velocity ammo, same 3-bullet weapon.
Approximately on the size of that character, it looks like that character is the same distance. I said approximately same distance. So the leading, depending on the speed of the character, should be close to the same as what it was before. If he's walking, it should be in between of crouching and running, roughly. Okay, so he's walking.
Well, so this is the shot as he's firing, because
and that looks fairly in the middle of crouching and running. the lead between crouching and running. So it matches. This character here was walking.
Things just move. Screenshot. Okay. This shot will have to do. It's as close as it get. It might be a frame behind, might be a couple of frames out, but it's approximately in the right location. So we'll come here. Right, okay, and then we'll resize this image here. I think that's perfect. That's a perfect alignment right there, I think.
You can see the tiles he's hiding behind are approximately the same height. You just have a little tip on top, and this is the player from the fence that he tries to align it up with, the size. He does it on the scope instead, but the players are approximately the same size. One was running, one was crouching, the new one was walking, so approximately in between. That's what I said.
You reckon? I reckon that's perfect. I think that's actually bang on. We've basically got a perfect lineup here, I believe, of the two images. Let me increase the transparency. So we can see that the dude is here.
Yep.
Right there.
Yep.
So we've got the distance there. Now
see, this one here is made different than this one here. Here you have a hook and a line with a little curve on it, so it's not as accurate as a line. This one here is actually shorter compared to from over here and in. The curve here is an illusion. It's tricking the eye to think that they're the same distance.
I think it's safe to assume that the leading on the right here, the target is slightly further away on the left. And
nope, they are approximately at the same distance, approximately, because when you had this one here over, you had them basically be at the same size. This here goes down there on the player model. This foot is right there on the scope here, on the scope line. The player model goes approximately here too. Like, they are at this approximately at the same distance. The leading should be equal to the travel speed of the target because the ammunition type is the exact same. Like, you're already not being honest about how to do it, or you just simply don't know and then appealing to ignorance fallacy. But hey, no honest person engages in fallacious behavior, right?
And leading the target is slightly closer, ever so slightly closer than the one on the left.
Okay, you also agree that it's ever so slightly closer, so because it's walking speed. There are two different speeds.
Target is slightly further back and is leading the target at a shorter distance.
It's not so much further back that it has any relevance in how much to lead the target, because the leading is close to, like, take this for example. If you travel 50 kilometers per hour and the target is 250 in distance, 50 per hour and 250 per distance. You lead at one thing. If it's still 50 per hour in travel speed, but 270 at distance, the leading will not change that much. However, if it's 270 over here compared to 250 over here as an example, and this here is 50 travel speed, and this here is 40 travel speed, the leading will be slightly closer to this than slightly like further closer to the crouching. Because the target still travels slower, but slightly further away, so the bullet needs to travel further. It's basic math.
When really you should be leading from a further distance, the further the person is. So this doesn't really add up. You've got in this.
Yes, exactly. It should be leading slightly further based on the distance to the target. However, also dependent on the travel speed of the target. And let's just crop it here over to the next video, because Joe are so beautifully falling into a lie, and he thinks he can. Let me see if I can find it one more time. That is, this was the video. He then had condensed if our tits claims and new info. I don't
Okay,
know why
guys.
I don't know why he likes misspelling. I will watch all of this video here. That is why, again, it would be longer. And before I do, you're gonna read this here. Starting is a giant piece of sheet, but you need to watch this video. Pixel perfect leading crosshair for a hunch order to understand what he's saying. This doesn't have to shoot when a target hits the edge of marksman scope, not when using Spitzer. I'm not going to read that. If Fritz has marksman Bethir with incendiary ammo, it travels that fast, just like I was talking about. When he switches to Spitzer, it travels that fast. Do you honestly think that he has to lead the target the exact same distance, no matter the bullet type he has loaded? As a better example, consider Sentinel Sniper Full Metal Jacket, which is way slower. Like, the travel speed is close to half compared to high velocity. You think the lead is the exact same? Lol. How much you have to lead your target depends on what scope you're using, because you then get closer or further away compared to the target. So the lead needs to be different. What your field of view is, because of how broad the spectrum of the screen will be. If you're using stretch resolution, again, same aspect. It makes it broader or slimmer. What bullet velocity, aka bullet type, the speed of the target, crouch, walk, running. Those are the three different things. I just wanted that comment before watching this.
Joe Blue back again. I'm just going to do a condensed set of videos as fast as possible, go through some clips of Fritz Flitz, some additional argumentation, and I'm taking some clips from another YouTuber that's going to help me prove that Fritz Flitz is cheating, but I can't link.
He's gonna use clips from another YouTuber to prove that Fritz is a cheater. Problematic exploits that should be fixed. So there's some sort of exploit that can be done, which is an in-game mechanic that is not intended, but can be abused in order to gain an advantage. It's not a third-party cheat. It's not any cheat whatsoever that you get. It's an in-game mechanic anyone and everyone can actually be using. But honest players will not be using this. So let's go further.
Who the YouTuber is, or the video where I've got it from, or anything like that, because this dude.
Understandable, but people can actually just Google themselves if they see the text of the video, know the general like idea of the video, so it doesn't make any difference.
Sells exploits for Hunt Showdown, so I'm getting this from an exploiter, and I don't want to.
So you're taking someone else, creating cheats, to argue why someone should be cheating. Someone like completely else should be cheating. Okay.
Advertise the dude, really. But I'm going to show this clip here to show that the crosshairs, the sniper scope crosshairs, can be used to lead targets.
Well, that is technically true. It's slightly more difficult in Hunt Showdown compared to such as Battlefield's Sniper Ghost Warrior, Call of Duty. They had more lines on the crosshairs, where Hunt Showdown technically only have what's it called? One.
At any range.
That was difficult.
And it's a consistent thing that it can be.
No, it's not a consistent thing. You'd still need to take into the calculation of the target speed, the bullet velocity, the distance to the target. Now you also need to take into account bullet drop, for example, which makes it slightly more difficult, but not impossible.
Be used on all weapons, not just the sniper rifle, but you'll see this video here now.
The crosshair, it's also only a problem if you're a sniper.
The reason it was difficult for me was because I was counting like 1, 2, 3, but it's just one line on the leading axis. So this here is used for bullet drop, but it was also in the old hunt before bullet drop. But yeah, you can see this is a scope. Compared to the scope, the target is larger than what it was in Fritz's video, so the lead doesn't need to be as crazy. The bullet velocity we have no idea about because scrolling out it doesn't show.
Sniper camper. And all the times
So basically, what I gather from this video here is that this,
Okay, so by hearing absolutely nothing, you then gather something.
this here, this point here is the distance at which you need to lead the target.
No, they are the distance which you need to lead the target at a specific distance from you to the target, together with the specific ammo type that is being used.
So you need to, when a person's head is here, that's when you basically need to fire more or less in order to get the shot guaranteed.
You can also see here, this fence here is a horrible video. This fence here is close to the tower. They're, if I'm not mistaken, I don't remember the combo. They are actually like in between. The tower is in between, and you need to cross through the tower to get on the other side of the fence. This here is again way closer than what was in Fritz's video, and you cannot see the ammo type now that he's out of the scope part.
So you can see like the head's basically there, he fires, gets the shot. So basically,
Again, muzzle velocity, aka how fast the bullet travels. The character being running, not crouching, which means you need to be closer here, otherwise you would miss by miles.
this is how you lead targets every time, no matter the
Nope.
distance. It's
Nope.
the same every time. I'll play
No.
another video
No.
afterwards from his that shows why that is the case.
Okay, so you're going to show why it is the case that you need to aim here every single time. That's going to be interesting.
But we'll go check some of Fritz Flitz's shots again with this new information.
Okay.
So we go frame by frame.
So you're demanding that this character being so much smaller, and we know that he's using Spitzer ammunition that travels very fast, should be shooting right here. And on the other side, there was a character that was crouching, moving super slow compared to this guy running. Yeah, the same distance away. This guy running compared to the other guy crouching should give the same leading.
And he's about here, I think.
Fritz's video was on his YouTube channel. You could literally just, as I can show here, okay, yeah, there. As you can see here, I can go back and forth in frame by frame, so you can actually just do the exact same thing. I don't know why you didn't do it. It makes no sense whatsoever.
Little tiny micro adjustment. I don't know if you know
You're reading too much into it.
this, but like there's tiny fucking micro adjustments
Reading fucking too much into it.
happening during that as well. Okay, so if you look carefully, that there are two micro adjustments.
And you are, if you listen carefully, you're reading too much into it.
Right, go frame by frame. Right, you should be shooting now.
Yeah, if you wanted to be missing, because the bullet travels faster, potentially faster than what was shown in the other video, because we never saw the ammunition. So we take the standard ammunition muzzle velocity, which then explains that it's a certain speed compared to the Swisses that's a faster speed. Also, if this here is in the other video, not this year. This year is a Bathir with Spitzer. In the other video, if that's a marksman mentally, it's a different muzzle velocity speed compared to a marksman wind field. So weapon type also matters because they're the different bullets, even the standard bullets.
Get that shot. Runs past the marker, and then there's a micro adjustment where it tracks and moves with the player model. Very strange.
You're reading too much into it.
Right, and then he moves forward again. He's past that point.
Yes, because it's Spitzer.
He's way past the marker now.
Because it's Spitzer.
And he's further past that marker, and then he shoots.
No, he shot with the other one. This here is after the shot already happened, the recoil for the weapon. But that's because of Spitzer. Common math.
So it's not here where it should be to lead the target. It's like here. And we have this second shot.
Yeah. You can see the character model looks close to the exact same size of the other character. You can see here, they look close to the same size compared to this height here. The size of the head compared to the broad line.
Let's go.
This guy here is walking, not running, so he travels that way slower than when he's running. Meaning he needs to lead further into the center because the character gets slower to the center than the character that was running towards the center.
Go again.
That happens. You can see out here that it already happened there. And you can see that the character is closer compared to the character that was out here. That's because he is walking, not running. Like it's the same as a 100-meter distance sprint. Take this here being 100-meter distance. If you're traveling 10 kilometers per hour compared to a character and another person traveling 20 kilometers per hour, who's going to clear this distance first? Or are they going to clear at the same time, which is what you're arguing? You need to shoot here, whether or not the character is running or walking. It doesn't matter. No 10 kilometers per hour for a walking character is insane, but so most people knows.
Way past the marker. It should be here. The head
No, it
should be
shouldn't.
on this.
No, it shouldn't. It's common sense, common math even. Like it's some of the first things you learn, even when you're having a gym in school, when you were running against your classmates. For that matter, try you set it up. You set it up. The distance are 2 lampposts on the street. Your cousin is walking like this character right here. You will be running like the character in the other shot. Who gets to the lamp pole first? This is the lamp pole. This is the second lamp pole. This is the first lamp pole you're starting at. You just do 2 lamp poles distance. Like first lamp pole, second lamp pole. Your cousin is walking, you're running. Which of you gets to the lamp pole first? It's the exact same thing because this here is close to the exact same distance to this character compared to the character just before. Same thing.
Here for it to hit the target.
Nope, you're correct.
Okay.
It should not be
So
on
you've
that
got this
mark
shot
over
here.
here.
Go frame
No.
by frame, 1 frame at a time. Again, it's just
The
like,
shot
it seems
happens
like
over here.
his movement is moving in lockstep with the player.
In lockstep with the player. Sure thing. We have a tiny little angle right here underneath this line. If it goes up, it's not in lock with the player. If it goes down and covers this, it's not in lock with the player. It needs to be exactly the same place. Otherwise, it's not in lock with the player.
Yeah, frame by frame, it seems like perfect, sort of like locked on tracking, no variance in the aim. There's like little tiny subtle corrections to his movement, like perfectly locked target.
It went slightly down. Slightly down, slightly up. You know what that's called? That's called weapon sway. Even with Scopesmith or whatever it's called, steady aim, I actually think it is, it still sways a tiny bit. This here is just weapon sway, moving up and down and slide it to the side. It's of course still him moving the aim to the side because he still needs to match the leading. He cannot, if he sits still and just shoots, I would be impressed with him doing actually that. To shoot at that exact moment rather than leading the target, that is insane to be doing that. I could do it on a target that's probably crouching, just sitting aiming here and then say, okay, he's there now. Click. But on walking and running targets, no fucking way. To do it consistently, you need to be cheating. Or a professional gamer. Even professionals would miss a lot of those shots anyway, so yeah. And that shot, you can see the side here changes. That's the shot happening.
That's where the shot comes in. Right here, when to lead the target. That's
No, the target should not be out here.
supposed to be here.
Nope. He actually shows that
So
the lead
I'll play this
distance
video.
with this here, he shows the lead distance should be different. It literally should be different.
From here.
This is your enemy, and your enemy is running left to right relative to you.
First and foremost, I want to say that this video is so close to being right, and yet it contradicts itself.
This is the trigonometric leading information. You need to shoot here when the enemy is here. The information is on a plane.
Right now, he's moving it on a 2D plane, ignoring the up and down, so underground and up in the air. Because right now he's moving it closer and further away from you, the enemy. He says it wrong.
The hunter can go left and right and up and down, but the projection of this information onto your
As he moves this line here, you still need to shoot on this line. You should not be shooting all the way out here. You should in fact shoot all the way in here. However, he's going to contradict that, because this here is actually showing how to lead the target. Because the further away from you the target is, the more meters away from you the target is, the further distance the lead is. The closer the target is, the shorter the lead is.
your screen, it's only a line. Because when you take this
And here's where it goes wrong.
information and you intersect the two planes, as you can see, you can retain the information on both the Y and X axis.
No, you can't. Because you're taking it as a Y and X axis, which is this and this. This has nothing to do with the depth. This here is if you take the person up in the sky or down underground and still shoot them. The distance to the target is the exact same. Thus, the leading is the exact same. If you take the target further away or closer to you, the leading will change. And that's what he's not taking into account here. That is what he took into account here with this one. This is the target getting closer. When he moved it up and down, he moved the target closer and further away. Here, he's not. This is the same distance. You can see he has the same distance. He just moves it into a flat plane, which means basically moving the target up into the sky at the same distance to you.
can retain the information on both the Y and X axis.
That's why this here Hunt Showdown is not a 2D platforming game. It's a 3D, so you need X, Y, and Z axis. Copy paste. This is good. This is good. I copy pasted it for clarity. You see, the distance is the same. He didn't change the distance to the target like he did before, where he moved it closer, so the distance was shorter, which also is the leading, because this here is where you need to shoot. This here is the lead to the target. And he literally showed it. He showed it here with this here.
But they
Let me slow it down. Showed it here because this is where you shoot. This is where the lead should be. Moving that into a 2D plane is the same, into a flat plane is the same as moving it up like this. Because the scope is literally shown at right there. Copy pasted it for clarity. The scope is the black line you're having up there. Just like this, the black line here on the scope is the same as a black line right there. So the closer the target gets to you, the shorter the lead gets. He's literally showing it right here and then follows it up saying the lead should be the same. I'll let him say that one more time.
and you intersect the two planes. As you can see, you can retain the information on both the Y and X axis.
Now we have the scope line.
You don't care if your hunter is flying or going underground.
And there we have it. Flying and going underground is the exact same, but that's what he's taking into account. He's not taking into account further away or closer towards you. When he made that other little thing here, he's just taking flying and going underground, not closer like he did before.
So only this information is necessary.
Incorrect. You also need the size of the hunter because that tells you how far away from you the hunter actually is. So you're incorrect.
What about explaining why it works over distance? Because obviously the more far away you are, the more time the bullet gets to hit the target.
Exactly. The further away you are, the longer time it takes for the bullet to hit the target. Thus, you also need to change the lead.
So the more distance the hunter is covering.
No. The hunter is covering the same distance. If the hunter is running and covering the same distance. You just need to lead further because it takes further time for the bullet to get down here than it does up here. You showed it when you dragged it up here. Like, how can you make a video literally showing it to begin with and then be wrong as you continue?
But the thing is that the leading gets as large as the hunter gets smaller, but not.
Oh my God. And he contradicted himself. He literally just said what I said. The leading gets larger the smaller the hunter gets. He said it. I said it right here when he showed this here. And he said that it doesn't matter. Then he goes over and say here that it does matter. The leading gets larger as the hunter gets smaller. Listen to it.
This information is necessary. What about explaining why it works over distance? Because obviously the more far away you are, the more time the bullet gets to hit the target, so the more distance the hunter is covering. But the thing is that the leading gets as large as the hunter gets smaller, but not just the hunter, everything projected on your screen over a distance gets smaller. That's
That's obvious. That's because it's a 3D game. If it was 2D, everything would have the same size, and you would only move side and side, up and down, like Mario. Because it's 3D, you can also make it larger and smaller.
That's why it's very confusing for people, because
Not really, but it seems to be confusing for you.
they cannot imagine that the space projected on the screen gets smaller and smaller.
No, the space projected on the screen is the same size for the scope, which is why the leading matters. The further away the target is, the more you lead the target, because the slower the target will actually get into the scope, traveling the same speed. That's literally the same argument you use for the bullet traveling further down here rather than just up there. It takes more time because the distance is larger. If it's out here for the enemy, it takes more time to get here because the distance is larger. Like, oh my
The more
God.
far away they are, and the relationship between the space getting smaller over distance projected on your screen is the same relationship of the leading getting larger. So effectively,
And there he agrees with me.
it stays in place. That's why this works over distance.
And he even adds the projection mathematics to it, because these here are 3 vectors: vector 1, vector 2, vector 3. So he even adds the mathematic calculation subject for it to understand why it works. And yet he still doesn't understand.
And it's not very easy to prove.
Yes, it is super easy to prove. That part of math is not my strong suit, but this here is like this line here and this line here are the 2 important lines, because you need to figure out how long time it takes for the enemy to travel here and how long time it takes for your bullet to travel here. Thus, where should you start? This here determines when you should start the quote unquote countdown for the enemy and your bullet, so they intersect with each other. If you start too early and use the same line, like start the enemy out here and you shoot at the same time as you shoot down here, the bullet will travel past him because you should have shot in here instead. Duh.
If you haven't ever done proofs about it, you could try to do some math exercises related to this.
Well, that is technically what you should be doing with your video, since you want to claim that is how it works. You are contradicting yourself multiple times, just saying.
And what about the angle? Surely you cannot describe the angle with a simple crosshair. Well, actually the angle, it's not that complicated, because
the angle doesn't matter. It just takes slightly more time, as you can see here. If the enemy, if you lead the enemy here, it takes a little more time for the bullet. Thus, the leading will also change based on the angle. But again, same principle.
if you have the same distance when it's projected on your screen.
Okay, we don't need to really hear much more of this. Basically,
so now Joe crops in. I will turn down the volume again because Joe's voice is way louder. Joe crops in now and say, you don't need more than this. So let's see if he understands it.
basically what he's saying is that because the target is getting smaller in the distance, as it gets further away, the point at which you need to shoot the person in order to get a headshot to lead the target will remain the same.
No. Again, going back to what did he do?
When the enemy is here. The information is on a plane, but the only projection of the...
Going back to this point here, where he dragged it up, this is the lead. This is where you need to shoot with the lead. This is the center of the crosshair. This here is the distance over to it. It's the black part of the crosshair that shows. So the closer the enemy gets to you, the smaller the lead also gets. You can see it here.
Information onto your
Distance between you and the hunter. Between you, not floating, not on the ground. That's why it's XYZ, XYZ, and not just XY axis. He shows it here that it goes into the black line you have in the crosshair, and he shows it with a singular distance, which is this distance here. He doesn't show it with two different distances because that will not make his claim seem legit. In fact, it will disprove his claim. But if you take this line here and project it into this black line here, comparing the other one, the two dots he got, it will be completely different lead. So yes, leading is dependent on the size of the character, the speed of the character, and the speed of the bullet. Like, simple. I can even do this. Now to explain it even further, what I was already saying, that this here is only when the target has the same distance, and why him explaining this part here is evidence that the lead should also be different because of the black line on the crosshair. I took this one here, I took the two images. I took, if I make 100% opacity, I took this one here where it has the distance and the lead that changes, together with the crosshair up here and these two red dots down here. I aligned it as best as I could with the red dot there on, you can see here, on this picture. So when I lower the opacity, you have a slight, that was a lot. You have a slight indication that it's there and it's there, together with the other one. So if I remove this one now, you have them there, and it goes up and down to them. So if I change the opacity to like 50, he moved them up to be there and there. You can see the red lines up there and there, and said, see, it matches. If I take this image and I move it up, it should match right those two dots there. However, that is with this size. What if you change it? Oh my God, the lead should not be out here. The lead should be further in. You have the red line right there. Right there. You can see it's still directly up, but the lead changes. Oh my God. The closer the enemy is to you, the shorter the lead should be. Oh my God. He explained it and it went completely over his own head. Like, I don't understand people why they're so desperately trying to argue one thing and then completely miss their own point and then argues a completely different thing. But Joe then,
every single time, no matter the ammo type, no matter the distance of the person is away, it's the same distance of the target every time.
just proved it's not. Closer the enemy is to you, the shorter the lead becomes. You can go the other way and say the further away from you, the larger the lead becomes. It's this. It goes in. It goes hand in hand.
So the fact that Fritz is got different ranges that he's leading with pretty much proves that he is using silent aim or something.
The fact that Joe are miscalculating, misinterpreting, and completely ignorant on this subject here proves that he has no way of actually arguing whether or not someone is cheating based on the amount of lead they're adding in form of silent aim and such different things. Just saying.
Anything else to help with his aiming of these targets at
Nope.
range.
Correct.
Okay, and then we got the clip of the pixel perfect 3 frames. I put this like blue dot in.
Pixel perfect of 3 frames, which means it only goes left and right, not up and down, because otherwise it's not pixel perfect. Then it's actually changing, and it's pixel perfect in accordance to the character. Otherwise, it wouldn't be pixel perfect.
More or less the center. It's not exactly accurate. Just to help track it a little bit better. Go frame by frame, so he starts moving up.
He moves up because he's pre-aiming. I got hiccups. You can see these are the legs, so obviously he needs to be moving up. This is a gun barrel, if I'm not mistaken.
As soon as he comes into like the center of the
Oh, it wasn't.
of the cross.
I was mistaken. The gun is here. It wasn't up there. You can see here. Then you have the edge of the. I was about to say face. It's the head. Then you have a hat up here. Pixel perfect would be staying at that exact spot there.
Right, so got first movement, second frame, third frame, then it moves.
And you already have a too large movement right there. So second frame was already moving away.
Up. It moves up there. 1, 2, 3.
No, you don't count the first frame as being pixel perfect, because that's the same as saying, well, he aims here and it's pixel perfect. Oh, it's still pixel perfect. Oh, it's still pixel perfect. Oh, it's still pixel perfect. It would be the same thing as being stationary. So you start at one point, click, and then say, this is pixel perfect, number 1. This is pixel perfect, number 2. So not only do you not know how to start counting pixel perfect, because you need the moment to start, and then the next is 1 pixel perfection.
1.
No, this is 0.
2.
That's 1, and that is technically still pixel perfect. It didn't move this top here, it moved this bottom here. That is
2, 3.
that is because
Pixel perfect.
yeah, the aim.
Then it starts to move up.
That is 1 because it actually moved before like I got to stop it. Can I go for enough bangs? You see the bottom there? It moves with the character. You know what? I'll try and mute Joe and then slow it down so it's easier to see. Then he talks a little, and you can see there it moves completely away from this section. It's still slightly difficult. Maybe we should take a different point. Yeah, you can see the distance to here actually, and the distance here on the weapon, the distance up here. It all changes. And now listen to what Joe says, because he doesn't know how to count either. That's why he's a fraud and a liar. One, not. 1, fail.
Then we have the
So he actually didn't say anything. He just showed, but he showed that it's not a problem. It's 1 pixel perfection and then fails. And everyone can get lucky to do like 2 or 3 pixel perfections. But to do it consistently is what you then need to be proving instead.
this other shot where he claims this is where he fires. This is
That's the recoil. You can see the weapon got closer.
where the recoil happens, and then he
The
fires.
muzzle. Yeah.
However, when I play in a server and I
Yeah.
shoot the drilling rifle shotgun,
Yeah. You're right now showing the distance, the original distance from your character to the weapon. So the size will change when you click shoot.
That's not what happens on my.
Of course, it floats around,
So
but it will
go
do
frame by
a
frame.
much larger. You can see here.
This is the shot.
You can see this here is the distance to the weapon, and then the shot happens.
This is the frame before the shot.
See how much larger it became because of the recoil. Let's go back and see here on Fritz's small weapon,
Where he claims this is where he fires.
large weapon. Let's see Joe's again.
This is
Small weapon,
the frame before the shot.
large weapon. Like the animations are 100% the exact same. You're using a YouTube video here versus a
Where he claims this is where he fires.
VLC version, VLC video. So you record it and then play it through VLC, or he send it to you and you play it through VLC. I don't specifically know, but VLC might take shorter timestamps in the next frame compared to YouTube. So I would never know which it is, but the animation, the distance, the changes on the barrel is the exact same. Thus, the exact same thing is happening. You're shooting, the weapon comes closer to it based on the recoil. It happens on both your screens. You are not having an argument right here.
This is the frame before the shot. And then the next frame, when I click the mouse button, the recoil, the muzzle flash, the bullet, all happens on.
Okay, you said the recoil, the gun getting closer, the muzzle flash, the orange yellow tint, and the bullet. Where's the bullet? I swear I don't see the bullet. If you're seeing the bullet, you have magical eyes.
On the same frame when I press the mouse button. So that's before, after, before.
And you can see it also takes like different things. So what YouTube does compared to VLC player in regards to next frame is inconsistent. So you would need to use, instead of uploading it, I don't know why you uploaded Drill Shot to YouTube when you are already having it as a video on your computer. In fact, doing this would speak further into you misrepresenting the reality, the truth, in order to argue your case rather than argue facts and logic. AKA, you're a liar and a fraud.
Or after. Except with Fritz Flitz, who has 12 ping,
Ping doesn't matter because the server needs to get his information, while this here is on his computer and the other one was on your computer and not on the server. So the server, again, doesn't matter.
at 36. For some reason, he's claiming.
Again, you can see down here, this is VLC's VLC players indication. Next frame is VLC. So what this tells me is that VLC takes shorter timestamps and uses that as next frame compared to YouTube. While, for example, this here might use 0.12, where YouTube uses 0.24. Just saying, there can be a difference, which in this example is the reason you see two different results. Like you're having this here as a video file on your computer that's 1 minute and 2 seconds long. The other one you uploaded to YouTube, which makes no sense. Why would you have one in one area and then like his video in one area and then purposely make it another step in order to misrepresent what is happening? Why not show your own video using VLC also? Oh, because you are a liar and a fraud.
Claiming that he shoots here.
Yes.
They press the mouse button at this point
did.
here for the shots on target.
He did.
And that this is
because this is the recoil. The weapon goes closer to him, just like it did with yours. Exactly like it did with yours. And this is why I tell you, you're not being honest in this conversation, this representation, because you're showing two different next frame versions. You're not showing both on VLC. In that case, FPS would be in, and you would be seeing more detailed movement than he would, because he's only running 90 FPS. You're running 120. What was it? How much was it? 147. Oh my god. Sorry.
This is the recoil after the shot's been taken, yet
Yes,
you don't
yes.
see the muzzle flash at the same time.
That is most likely because VLC, as I said before, is taking shorter timestamps than YouTube next frame. So you're seeing more things happening in between the next frames.
You see the muzzle flash a frame later. So he's claiming that he's pressing the mouse button.
And you're claiming that it should be happening at the same time while using two different next frame methods. You took the time to remove this video here from somewhere, download it from Google Drive, for example, and then record this while taking your own recording that is already on your computer and then upload it to YouTube. If both of them were on VLC and both of them were on YouTube, I would understand you would use this as an argument, but they are on two different fucking players. One is online, another is on your computer. Make it make sense.
And early, so he's claiming he's pressing the mouse button here to shoot, and
you're claiming he did not press the mouse button here to shoot because the muzzle flash does not match the recoil that is actually happening. Like, it doesn't matter how many times you repeat false information will still be false.
And on my example, when I press the mouse button,
yeah, okay, on the example you have that you uploaded to YouTube, which have a different next frame setup compared to VLC player, which is happening directly on your computer. Like, oh, Jesus fucking Christ.
the recoil muzzle flash all happens in that same frame, which would be this frame.
No, it wouldn't. Because this frame is having a different next frame timestamp compared to the next frame timestamp it has on YouTube. For that matter, I would understand if you used both on VLC and both on YouTube, or both on YouTube. Even if you went so far and changed opacity, made it match on DaVinci Resolve, like, use the same player, the same editing tool for both of them. Use an argument, a tool that makes transparency for what is happening. You don't measure apples and bananas together and claiming it's the same thing. Oh my god, dude.
But this would be, I believe this is when he's pressing the mouse button.
When the recoil has already happened, that is when he presses the mouse button. Which means in your shot back here, you don't press, you press here. That's your argument. The recoil has already happened here, so this here is where you press the mouse button to shoot. Not here. You shoot here. This is where you click and shoot. Not here. According to you, when the recoil has already begun happening, aka there, you shoot on the mouse button. Not when the weapon has actually not been fired. That's what you're saying over here.
All at the same time, but you don't see it a frame late. And this just doesn't happen once, it happens twice. And in fact, late muzzle flash happens in pretty much every single shot that he takes. So for some reason...
Okay, if it happens so often, why is it that you're only showing one? I'm just curious. You're saying it happens so often and gives one example. That's a lot of times. 1 + 0 = 1. Oh my god, that's a lot of times. I agree with you there, Joe. 1 is a lot of times. one or so many times.
reason, somebody who has less ping than me seems to have.
The ping doesn't matter when it happens on the computer itself. Fritz sees what Fritz sees. You see what the server gives to you. What the server sees is what Fritz delivers to the server with a latency of 12, and your latency was a latency of 34. What you see is what you see. What the information you send to the server is what the information you send to the server is dependent on the latency and the ping.
Some kind of frame delay in his
Nope,
animation,
it's not.
which doesn't make any sense.
You're right, it doesn't make any sense unless you're looking at two different softwares, VLC and YouTube. One is on your computer and is capable of handling so much more compute power. The other one is online, dependent on internet speed and such other factors like server speed also. Oh my god, it makes absolutely no sense why the muzzle flash comes later when the computer can compute even faster compared to an online server that has a limit speed of your information being delivered. Oh my god, it makes no sense.
It doesn't happen on my end, and
so because it does not happen on your end based on a video that is going on YouTube, we should just magically trust you, right? So when it doesn't happen to you, we should just magically trust you, right?
I think it's because of some cheat that he's using.
I really don't care what you think, Joe. I really don't care what you think. Your thoughts are based in lies. So I really don't care what you think.
Causing this delay in his animation. He then has this section here.
Yeah. He got a section where he sees someone on the stair and then clips it out. You're not showing before, you're not showing after this here. We're not seeing if he's in a gunfight before, we're not seeing anything whatsoever. We're just seeing that short moment.
There's that section there.
Okay, so it went from there over to here, and then over to there. It could be that he was editing in and such things, then making changes and forgot to just simply remove it. Could be that. Not saying it is, I'm saying it could be.
And for some reason there he edits that section out. He's in the middle of an engagement. The dude's basically trying to shoot him for a wall. Looks like he's got wall hacks, you could probably hear him. But he's basically shooting through the wall and he's about to like...
There's gunfire, so probably more information than just that little tiny moment happening prior. He probably knew based on footsteps and other gunshots that he was already inside. Horse, opening, you name it. That could be so many other factors to why he knew that guy was inside. In fact, I just want to see something.
There's that section there.
So 11:02. So it's 12 seconds. You can see here 10:50. 11:02 and 10:50. 10 seconds have gone by. I think that he clipped over to this portion and forgot to remove the other part. So like he made two clip sections, removed the middle, but forgot that he had already made a clip. So he a cut in the clip. So he made two, but that was the start of the clip where he cut first. And then he made a cut here as in, I want to continue the clip right here. That's what I would think. So it's just bad editing.
And for some reason there he edits that section out. He's in the middle of an engagement. The dude's basically trying to shoot him for a wall. Looks like he's got wall hacks, you could probably hear him. But he's basically shooting through the wall and he's about to like move his gun and aim on him. And for some reason he drops those frames.
No, he doesn't drop those frames. He drops those 12 seconds. That's a lot of time for things to be happening or nothing to be happening to show in a video. 12 seconds is a crap ton of time in a YouTube video.
I don't know why. Maybe to hide something that would have made it obvious that he was cheating.
Or maybe because nothing was happening in those 12 seconds, so he just removed it and forgot that he had already made a cut. Just saying, it could be.
I don't know, but it looks suspicious. And then
oh, it looks weird. Nothing else. It doesn't look suspicious. It looks weird.
I'll just finish off with this clip.
Let's finish up with this clip. Yeah.
And he just walks in and gets that head tap. I mean, if I'd have got domed right here, everybody would have told me.
What? Your choice of words are the weirdest things ever. Domed? A dome is something that's on top of a stadium. It's a sort of bubble you have on top of something. Like, I'm sorry if my English is so horrible, and domed also is another way of saying downed, killed, you name it. But I really don't know why you choose domed so many times. I'm not going to go through the videos because it's just a single word that confuses me and nothing relevant to the video of proving whether or not this guy here is a cheater or anything. It has nothing to do with Joe's accusations or anything there, so I'm not going to go through finding a singular word being used multiple times.
Dude, don't peek the same place twice. You already got shot when you were on the roof once. Why would you go back out a second time and make yourself a target to get shot again? Like, I'd...
Well, partially. There can be two scenarios of this, being this is one of the scenarios. He's going to play the video one more time. He says, watch it again. And I will, at that moment, explain why this here works. And during that, I will also explain why another scenario would not work.
be told that what Fritz is doing here would be called bad play. Yet he does it and uses it as an example to show why he's better than me at the game.
I'm going to explain that after I explain the two different scenarios, and then why this here is a quote-unquote good play, and Joe's example would be a quote-unquote bad play.
When he's basically been hit and goes out fully exposing himself, even though he's already been shot. Like, does he know that there's no one else around that could potentially dome him? Does he have wall hacks? I don't know, but I'd argue that this is bad play because people would criticize me.
And for the matter of not wanting to find other clips where it says dome, like he just said it, so I don't need to find another clip actually.
Me for doing this. If I'd have got shot here or anything would have gone wrong here,
I don't need to say the other scenario. He literally just explained it. If he got shot or it had gone wrong here, then again it would be self-explanatory. It's a bad play. Because it doesn't, it's a semi-bad play that worked out for him in the end. So he got lucky. Like that is the reason. You don't show yourself. You don't make a compilation of yourself getting killed, unless you want to make a meme or troll or something like behind the scene of my clips, something like that. Of course, you can do. Nothing against doing that. But that's not the point of this. This here is showing kills and success.
I'd have immediately been blamed for being on the roof the second time.
Wait.
Bad play because people would criticize me for doing this. If I'd have got shot here or anything would have gone wrong here, I'd have immediately been blamed for being on the roof the second time.
That's literally what I just said. If it goes wrong, you blame it for it. If it goes right, you applaud it. Like here, it's a dumb play. Peek the same place twice is dumb. That is the simple scenario. But when you go through it, like
The position I already been shot in already, I'd be told immediately by everyone that I was bad at the game for doing that.
yes, but there are some reasons as to why Fritz can do this that makes it a slightly better play than you just simply doing it. Now, if you did it in regards to the same way Fritz did it, I wouldn't be saying anything about it either. But if you did it without these extra informational cues that Fritz are having, yes, you're doing a bad play.
But yeah, Fritz apparently he can do that, and he'll use it as an example of being better than me. Just a little bit of like, you know.
Are we not showing?
But yeah,
Seeing
they're
it?
just a few little bits and bobs.
Oh, we're not seeing it. Okay, so 1355. I will go back over there. Let's see here. Here, let me explain why what Fritz did is working to his advantage, and why Joe should stop whining about it.
And then I'll just finish off with this clip.
First and foremost, the enemy character is down here. He is on completely open over here. So if someone was there, they would later shoot him, and I'm going to show the timestamps, the pauses of where it would happen. Technically, he got shot from out there, not that enemy. You can see there, and muzzle flash there, muzzle flash there. That enemy didn't even shoot him. It was actually that guy there that shoots. So that guy there did the bad play in this clip. So that's the second shot at Fritz. He then ran inside. To their knowledge, he's gone. And this here is where the bad play of the enemy then appears. Shot, so they're engaging in another fight. Shot, again engaging in another fight. Standing still and back on the roof. This here is where, if any other enemy was in the opening over here, they would engage in Fritz rather than these two because they are further away, and Fritz would just turn over and get them instead. So these guys over here on the field, for example, if any were there, they would get Fritz, and Fritz would be engaged in a sandwich fight between these two teams. Just like this team here is sandwiched between that team over there and Fritz. The exact same thing. Now they are still engaging with the enemies over here. These guys that Fritz are taking a shot on are engaging with these guys over here. That is the specific reason why this works for him and doesn't work for Joe. You can see. Back to 1355.
So yeah, they're just a few little bits and bobs there just to add to the idea that I think Fritz is a cheater.
Okay, so Fritz Flitz is a cheater, and you then continue with your little.
So yeah, latest guys, GG.
Coming for you. Look, there comes one of them now.
Like, I now have my suspicion that your little extra clip here is your way of saying, "Hey guys, I'm gathering cheaters. You don't need to be afraid, because this here is one of the cheaters. You are saying, look, there comes one of them now," as a gathering, and you want to be the gathering point. God damn it. We can take Joe's latest live stream. You can see here, 1 day ago, 19th of April, 2025. It's 21st, but it needs to reach the timestamp before YouTube changes it over to 2 days, blah, blah, blah. But you can listen to what he says here.
I know, Fritz. Are you joining? I sent you an invite. If it's coming through.
Fritz Flitz. Now, he gave me permission to make this video because he actually thought it was funny that Joe claims he's a cheater. Listen to it.
The idea that I think Fritz is a cheater.
Fritz Flitz. Listen to it again.
Add to the idea that I think Fritz is a cheater.
Yeah. So now Joe R is also playing with a guy that he thinks is a cheater. The videos are still up. So if you think that the guy is a cheater, why do you still have the actual videos here? This one here, close to the middle,
You got in the
he even got timestamps like Fritz clip 1, Fritz clip 2, Fritz clip analysis. You have his name there, Fritz Flitz. Like, all this here is Joe arguing that he's a cheater, and then 2 days ago, Saturday, he then played more with him. I'm just saying, if you want to be an anti-cheater, complaining about cheater defenders, complaining about, is it 2 words? We even wrote it as one also. Complaining about people having Vac-ban, nice Vac-ban. A lot of my deaths are from Vac-ban players. Agreed with you guys had Vac-ban or accused of cheating. Like, are you using Vac-ban / game ban as an argument to accumulate the player playing multiple games with a person who has Vac-ban? Blah 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 blah. You can see, like, he uses cheater defender and Vac-bans as a bad thing, but he himself are engaging with people that have Vac-bans and that he thinks are cheating. So kind of falls over to Joe Blue being the cheater defender rather than Joe Blue being the anti-cheater. Just saying, it is very suspicious that he claims someone is a cheater and then plays with them. He claims it's a problem that someone have a Vac-ban on record and then plays with them. It is very, very, very suspicious that someone calling themselves an anti-cheater would actually engage in gameplay with people that falls under the behavior he continually says is cheater behavior. I'm sorry for it to be that it was long. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I needed this to get out there. I got the permission to do it right now, so I wanted to do it. I really hope that more and more people will see him for what he is. Joe Blue is a fraud and a liar. He doesn't care about catching cheaters. You can read it here. You can read it here. This channel focuses on exposing the cheater epidemic, ruining gameplay today while with live streams and investigating videos of other content creators or looking at suspicious plays in games I play. He doesn't care about actually exposing cheaters. He's looking for a way for cheaters to gather around him, so they can all have their little, like, group for easier communication. That's why all these videos here shows absolutely nothing remotely close to cheating. So he makes everything, every mundane, like, gameplay seem like cheating rather than what actually is cheating. Because if everyone are cheating, then magically no one is a cheater anyway.